Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Machine Expert HVAC. I'm your host, Leandro Ma, and in this video what we're going to see is how we can connect Modicon M172 with a Harmony HMI that is programmed in EcoStruxure Operator Terminal Expert. Let's go to the software. So what I'm going to do is to create a project. So it's going to be my M172 HMI project. I'm going to use this and we create the application. So the first thing that we need to do is to, in my case, I'm going to use the ModbusTcp connection between the PLC and my simulated HMI. Okay, just going to show you proof of concept that it works. So one of the things that I usually do is to go here and configure the parameters for the Ethernet. So I usually leave this as a default and the file 2 so I can connect later with the controller. I'm going to use this IP address on the PLC 172 for gateway this 255 and 0. Okay, so that will cover part of the configuration of the PLC. This one you can use client or server, it doesn't matter. Okay, but that should be it. Now what we need to do is to create variables in order to be shared on the controller and then the HMI. So I'm going to create EEPROM variables. So I'm going to create ICFG for configuration 1, integer 222, and then I'm going to create another one for indication 1, then just Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. So we have some variables over here. Okay. What we can do probably is to play a little bit around and see what happened. So let's have some logic so you know that it's working, it's doing something on this side. So I'm going to use the status, this one. It's going to be this one plus this one. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is to connect to the controller, download this, and then hopefully the other side it will work. So what we need to do now is to connect to the controller. In my case, it's already had the IP address, so it's going to be 192.168.1.172. Yes, okay, and if you want, I can ping the device so you can see that it's working fine. Here, ping 192.168.1.72. There we go. So what we can do now is to check the connection. So I'm going to connect to the device. Don't worry about this because it's related to, it has a different firmware, but don't worry, connect anyway. Now what I'm going to do is to download all. And once I download all, then I can play around how we can connect with the Operator Terminal Expert, the other HMI. In this case, I'm using only ModbusTcp because the PLC has Ethernet, so let's profit for that. But then I will make another video how we can connect the Modicon M173 over Modbus serial to Harmony. So the Modbus part will be covered, but the process will be the same in theory. That's it. Okay, yes. Okay, so now it will reboot. So now that this part is already complete and we have all the parameters, so once we create the EEPROM or status variables into the controller, then it has some addresses, and this is the addresses where the HMI will point to. So now I have a new application for ProtoTree Machine Expert. What I'm going to do is to, let's say, define the target that I'm going to use. So system target, this case is HMI ST6 500. It doesn't matter, no problem. Here is on the configuration, but I'm not going to do that here in this part. All we need to do is to add the driver. In this case, we can use a Schneider, and here you use the ModbusTcp. In this ModbusTcp, you have different devices, okay? Even if the M172 doesn't show up, it's a Modbus. So, okay. Here it's going to be my M172 device. I need to define the IP address 192.168.1172. And here in the equipment settings, you have the IP address, the port number 502, this is the one that is already configured. You have the equipment address, just leave it over there. And here we have this option that it was launched, I believe, in the version 3.3 of ProtoTree Machine Expert, that based on the documentation of what the expert says, this is just an improvement of the communication when you connect with the HVAC controller. So in theory, you should check it. So let's check it. Okay, this part's okay. Variables and dressing mode, we can leave this. So now that we have this, we need to import the variables. So how we can import the variables from the other side? Here we should be able to export, data export. I believe we also have here data export. So we'll export the variables from the software to be used on the other side. So if you select data export, you have different things, but this is the one you need to use. Modbus option for EOTE. EOTE is EcoStruxure ProtoTree Machine Expert. Why they use EOTE, I don't know. It's a good construction of the things, but let's just use it. So let me just find the folder for this, and then I come back to the share screen. Where I can save this, just bear with me a second. Just trying to find the test. So what I'm going to do is to save it on the same location where the project is. My variables for EOT. Save. Here you can specify the source name and the variable prefix, just to know what's really happening. And you have the possibility to select if you want EEPROM and status. So the source name, if I'm not wrong, we can check it. It must match the name of the device that I'm going to use. So the device will be this, my M172. So let's add that, my M172. And then you have the possibility to use some variable prefix, so you know that it came from this device. So let's use my M172 and then export. And here it says, please remember to define Modbus as slave my M172 and EOT important variables. That's what I mentioned. So we did that correctly. Now, if I open, just bear with me. So if I open now the folder that is in my other screen, I have this, my variables for EOT. So we can open it. So on the other side, and here you have all the syntax or the variables, the configuration, everything that needs to be done. Okay, and here you can find the address. Okay, it uses this kind of syntax for the EOT, the one that is exported. We're going to save it. Then, now that we have that, on the EOTE, all we need to do is to import that. So variables, all variables, import, just check where they. So what we need to do is to select import. This is the default path, and then I'm going to select another one. So in my case, this is going to be the new path. This is going to be open. You have possibility to add to existing items, so it will check which one are already new or not, and it will overlap or not depending on which one are you using. And here we are. So we have all these variables. The only thing that is different is that it adds this 4 because it's just a holding register and it used the 4 over there. But you just need to check on everything else that doesn't have the 4 at the beginning. So now that we have this, we should be able to communicate. So let's create something on the screen quickly. So let's add this just to show you. Let's use the grid. So if I add, should I put this water here? What is the grid here? So I'm going to add 10 and 6. So I'm going to add something like this, one number over here, another one over here, and the results over here. Then I'm going to add the text. Here it's going to be plus, and the line over here. There we go. You can spend more time on doing this properly. So what we need to do is to define the variables or add the variables. So it's going to be this one, and this one is going to be the, let's see, indication 2. And this one is going to be the indication 1. Just to show you that I can access to the both way. As this one is going to be the result of the calculation, I'm going to use one way and disable the input and probably fill this in a different color just to have it right. And now if everything was well, I should be able to simulate the HMI on my PC and have the communication on the other side if everything was well. So far everything is 0, which is fine. Let's connect over here. Yes. Then simulate 0, 0, 0. Let's go back here. This one is going to be configured. So this one is going to be 45. This one is going to be 78. And it works. Okay. So this is how you can connect the Modicon M172 over Ethernet to an HMI program in EcoStruxure Machine Expert. Now, something that I found is that you probably have problems on accessing the data sometimes. As the M172, you can create different memory addresses that doesn't need to be continuous. I saw sometimes that you have some kind of errors or trying to access the information. So there are a few things that you can do in order to avoid that. So you can create a different scan rates. So scan rate, for example, scan rate for oh no, EEPROM, or scan rate when you use a string variables, probably string, and you can define here the interval in order to don't mess that up. So for example, in this case, EEPROM, you can go to the variables and select this one out, the EEPROMs, basic, and you can select all of them together now that we have the possibility to select them. So this one has different scan rates and doesn't mess up with the communication. That's something that I saw before. Other way will be to specify the, I'm just going to show you that this works also. See here, I'm just reading information and probably it's going to make the calculation. Other way to sort that out is to go to the driver that you have here and communication optimization. You disable this part and then you just play with this. Okay, that's something I had done before in order to select which is the best way to communicate. Otherwise, select this one and it will do the trick. That's something I found before, that HVAC controller. Okay, so this is how you can communicate a Modicon M172 over Ethernet to an HMI program in EcoStruxure Operator Terminal Expert. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.